I think we read differently. People read the Bible, and after reading the Bible, they have their own interpretation.
Different interpretations,
Maybe the easiest one is they have their own heroes. You read the Bible and you come out with Noah. Think, I want to be Noah. I want to build an ark. I want to build a big company which is going to rescue people from the floods. The floods is a recession or unemployment.
Sure.
And I'm going to absorb. I'm going to be Noah.
That's a nice interpretation of the Bible.
So you come out with Noah. Yeah. The next person comes out with Moses.
Are you Christian again?
I'm not Christian.
You're not Christian anymore.
No, Christianity is more problematic. It is more problematic but it goes down to interpretation.
Yeah.
Someone wants to be Moses. South Africa is going through apartheid, and I think I want to be the voice to liberate my people.
Let my people go. That's Mandela.
It was actually Chief Albert Luthuli.
Yeah.
And there's a book called Let My People Go.
Sure.
But Moses became Nelson Mandela, Let My People Go, who became the spokesperson to go and free the Israelites, black people, from the Egyptians being the apartheid government.
Yeah.
And it became a Moses trying to lead us to the promised land, which the ANC now is kind of butchering.
Which they took us through the wilderness instead of to the promised land.
Then Penzo.
Here's the thing.
Sure.
Before you get there, Penzo. After what you said, biblically, the Israelites go through the wilderness for 40 years before they get to the promised land. 30 years into democracy, we're still in the wilderness. Do you think we need 10 more years before actually things change for the better? Getting to the promised land?
You'll never get to your destination if you're going in the wrong direction.
They were going through in circles in the wilderness.
So I'm not going to interpret that scripture because, again, I'm not a pastor and I'm...
My man, you're a pastor, but let's continue.
So I'll say this. If you want to interpret it for understanding, the reason they went around in circles was because they needed to learn something. They needed to experience something. So maybe South Africans need to suffer.
And learn something. Sure.
So that we then are like, you know what, we actually took this freedom for granted. We actually were not pulling our weight. And maybe that's the lesson.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily that just because we're going around in circles, we'll get there. There are people that spend their whole lives in
circles. Going around in circles.
They are learning nothing.
Yeah.
They are still voting for the same party. They are still supporting the certain types of leaders. You are trying to build a black economy. You're trying to uplift black business, but you're refusing to buy black. And you're wondering why there's high unemployment. You're wondering why you're oppressed. You will keep going around in a circle until you wake up. But if you don't wake up, you will remain oppressed.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is, in the 10 years, we won't reach the promised land if we're not moving in the right direction.
Sure.
So we need to move in the right direction. People like Openzo read the Bible and they come up with Solomon, king, the wisest man. Now Solomon also happened to have the honeys.
Yeah.
Many wives,
so Penzo wants the honeys and the kids.
So like, no, man, I think... Is
that how you identify?
No, I think I'm cheater. So millions of people have read Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Sure.
By Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
But again, like the Bible, what did you take out of it? I know Kiyosaki says we must invest in property and you must mind your business and McDonald's. And you're like, okay. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and it became a biblical exercise. I had a similar spiritual journey watching the Avengers. Marvel. Movie. Fiction. Watching Thanos, who sacrificed his daughter Gamora, which is like the sacrifice of Jesus, so that he could gain the Soul Stone. And the Soul Stone allowed him, guess like a god, because he snaps his fingers and half of the universe disappears. It's like the flooding. So there's these biblical aspects. But what I took from there was something deeper than just action. What I took from Rich Dad, Poor Dad was Robert Kiyosaki saying, rewire and recondition how you view things. I'm going to teach you about money. How you've been taught about money is wrong. But he goes into more than just money. He speaks about taxes.
He goes into what?
It's more than money. He speaks about, there's a very nice quote that says entrepreneurship is a personal development course, is a hidden personal development course. Because in entrepreneurship, you go in there to make money. I'm going to go buy and sell stuff. You don't go in there to develop your ability to talk, your ability to negotiate. You don't plan, I'm going to travel, going to be in bloom.
Sometimes you suffer there, my man.
You suffer. You are the people you meet, losses, dealing with failure, overcoming, learning financial terms. When I want to with Forex because you just wanted to make money. But now you're learning about trading, about indices. You're learning about pairs and commodities and, there are codes.
Currency.
There's rigging of currency.
Yeah.
Now I need to study the politics of Japan because they're releasing a report, you're like, now you're studying politics and economy and you're like, how is this going to make money?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Robert Kiyosaki to me has been more than just a personal finance guru. Rick Ross for me is also another
feel like
similar.
You went more than just money,
for me,
and you were getting other stuff. What are those stuff that you were getting?
It is just looking at what you've been taught in another way. You must understand that the core of Robert Kiyosaki's teaching. So Robert Kiyosaki asks, "What's McDonald's business?" You're like, they sell burgers. You're like, no, their business is property. Their business is property. Robert Kiyosaki's books are on money and personal finance, but they're not. His books are on education. He speaks about his father as someone who was big in education.
Yeah.
And his whole fight is our education system is not working for us. From a money perspective, but it's not just money. As Africans, it's who's teaching you how to grow food? Who's teaching you how to build your own house? Who's teaching you how to bring your family back together? The core of Rich Dad Poor Dad is rewire your mind on education. And that's what I got from him. Money is one of them. And then you start looking at the elite. When the elite are telling you, go get a jab. When the elite are telling you, it's wrong what's happening to Ukraine. When the elite is saying, but Hamas are terrorists. You're like, hey, wait, Kiyosaki said we mustn't just take what the elite tell us.
Think.
Let's try and think and let's try and figure out whose agenda is being served and for what purpose.